Hello, everyone. Dr. Nikhil Verma here with another edition of Things I Didn't Learn in Med School. I've made it a goal of mine for 2024 to make more videos that are based around tips and tricks and ideas and concepts, as well as other day to day habits that we can start integrating in our life for a better, healthier lifestyle. It's interesting because I have not in the past been the type of person to make New Year's resolutions, really habit track, and to put myself committed to the kind of things as I'm discussing in today's video. But I realized what a limited mindset I was putting myself when I was not including these into my life. And it's also part of the bigger project of what I want to do to help my patients better. So hopefully the totality of all these videos will amount to some sort of success for yourself or maybe some loved ones, or a group of individuals that are trying to just get better, get some more information about health and wellness, and see where they can take themselves, whether they're suffering from pain or working on a specific goal from recovery or recovering from an injury, or from just trying to better themselves in any way. There's a lot of information out there that I feel is inaccurate, or people are peddling certain topics or pseudosciences or poor research. And I kind of want to say, you can follow these individuals, and I think it might be intelligent to follow these individuals to kind of start understanding what your own health is. And that's where I was several years ago. The difference is what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep things at the lowest minimal cost, some tips you can do to your day-to-day lives without actually changing much else. Of course, any goal is going to have some sort of change in the infrastructure of how you proceed on your daily living, but the goal is to try to put these minimal changes in before you're going and spending thousands and thousands of dollars on a wellness retreat or a wellness guru who's peddling their own products. So I encourage you, follow me on my YouTube channel, and I will put out these longer form videos on my YouTube channel. But if you follow me on my Instagram handle as well, then I'm going to give some of those tips and tricks in those shorter form videos, but they're not meant to be taken as individual snippets, but the overarching picture, which you would get much more with the YouTube channel. So today's episode, that's what I'm going to talk about. What I'm looking forward to in 2024 is really jumping into this journey and how it's going to affect not only how I can help educate more patients, but help educate more people in the community. And I'm hoping other physicians and other chiropractors and physical therapists and other people that are in the healing process will encourage their patients or their clients to watch these videos as well. As I said earlier, that I'm not that type of individual who typically makes New Year's resolutions. But this year, I'm not saying that I'm going to write something down. I think it will be helpful for me to do this. I've discussed this topic with a lot of loved ones, a lot of trust ones. So I feel like it's a good idea of how I'm approaching this. And that made me start thinking of this January rush to the gyms. We all have it. We all know it comes. It's part guilt from that last year the end of the previous year. We'll say December. Mainly actually starting around Thanksgiving. We start overindulging in food. We start giving sweets and cookies and candies and other unhealthy treats to individuals as gifts. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. That's actually a great practice, that joy that you receive when you actually give somebody something that makes them feel happy and makes them feel good. And it's just really a good way to connect with one another, and especially show some signs of respect to people you might have had the chance to tell throughout the year, been able to be with throughout the year. And at the end of the day, what really matters more is what you're eating and drinking and how you're treating yourself, your daily habits from the months from January until end of November, and then those few weeks between November, the end of November and Christmas time. If you're really spending 90% of your time in a healthy mindset, eating well, not a strict diet, but eating well, more vegetables, more fruits, less processed foods, less sugars, less fast food, lean meats, healthy fish, hydrating very well with water. Those few weeks, we all kind of can forgive ourselves to let it go and not be so rigid. And then once January comes, we have a new year, and that's a turning over of a leaf that you can direct your goals to get to the gym. And it's also a scary time for those individuals that haven't ever stepped a foot in the gym or have gone away from the gym for a long time, whether it be for family or haven't had any reason to go to the gym, or they want to, get their energy levels up, they want to get out of pain, whatever the reason might be. I really, really do find it great in retrospect. This is a fantastic time of year. Going to more classes, getting that group community fitness classes to bring you out of your house, especially during the cold winter months. If you live in somewhere like Ohio, as I do, these are some great connections. And I think we should all make this goal to live a healthier and better month. Some people go as aggressive as doing, we'll say, a social media fast where they're not consuming social media as much. Other individuals will go on a Whole30 diet, where you're eating more whole foods, and you do it for the month of January. Some people do a dry January where they're not drinking alcohol at all. I think these are all fantastic ideas, and I never had a reason to say, okay, I'm going to do these, but it's time to start analyzing and how can I put habits in my life now that can allow me to still have fun and not be so punitive to myself. And that really comes to starting off the year with a good health plan. And hopefully you pick up habits and let those extend on throughout the year. So we don't feel so guilty when we have the months from the weeks from Thanksgiving through to the beginning of the next year and feeling so guilty for what we've consumed. One thing about the idea of these gyms being overpacked, and I was having a conversation with my colleague today, and we were discussing, we don't love when the gyms get overpacked because we can't get our workouts in as efficiently. And it can get crowded, it gets hot, the heat's cranked up, you have lots of bodies in there lifting, running, using the machines, whatever you might be doing to stay healthy and active. And not that I want to discourage anyone from going to the gym, because as my saying has been for a long time now, is the best exercise is the one that you're doing. If you're running, if you're lifting, if you're doing yoga, if you're swimming, whatever it might be, that's the best workout because that's getting your body moving in some capacity. Now, the second best workout is the one that you're not doing. So the common theme is if you're a weightlifter, you tend to not do as much cardio and stretching. If you're into yoga, you might not do as much heavy weight strengthening training, or you might not be doing a lot of cardiovascular conditioning, or you're not doing VO2 max conditioning. Some things we'll talk about over the course of the year as well, what all this kind of looks like. So I think it's great to encourage your friends and family members to get to the gym in January, despite the crowdedness, despite whatever it is. For me, I'm one that likes to work out 4 to 6 times a week, just depending on how my week goes. Sometimes that will get bumped down to 3, but I know then the next week I'm going to have to go at least 5 times. So it's situations like that where I say 4 to 6, I'm giving myself some sort of buffer. To break it down pretty easily for individuals, you want to stick with doing at least one strength training session, and this can be multi joints per week. So things like squats, not necessarily have to put the barbell behind your back, but even goblet squats or dumbbell squats can be very effective. Some variation of a push up or a dumbbell press can be very effective. A back row or pull ups can be very effective. Some lunges can be very effective. Really working the whole body and multi joints moving around at once. And this is really not just moving your body with weights, but it should be a decent amount of struggle. And when I say decent amount, my saying is that I want to give 80% of effort 80% of the time that I'm working out. So that means those days, if I can do 10 reps without really, really struggling for those last 2, I'm good. But if I had to do 2 to 5 more reps, I'd probably be exerting myself to that 100%. So that's why I use this rough landmark of 80%. And the beautiful part of this is your 80% can change from day to day. So now you're giving yourself a little mental check and like, man, my back feels a little tight. Maybe I don't want to push it too hard. So maybe my 80% today is a little bit less. So that's one day of the week. I actually prefer to do it 2 to 3 times. And there's many reasons and many studies that we'll get into later in the year. But what we've realized is that it's not just the muscle strengthening that happens. The muscle has a endocrine-like function where it secretes hormones and can stimulate stem cells and stimulate circulatory cells and rebuilding cells in your body. So it's very important to actually have the muscle mass appropriate. And before anyone says, I don't want to lift too much because I don't want to get too bulky and big. I completely understand that. But for the most part, it's pretty much a myth, especially if you're doing proper training and keeping your calories within normal limits for yourself, which is individualized. Again, 1 to 3 days a week of strength training. You don't want to do back-to-back days, especially for a novice. Some people that have more experience can definitely do back-to-back days of strength training, utilizing different body parts, upper body, lower body, upper body, or more appropriately would probably be lower body twice in 1 week and doing upper body once in the week. There's a whole lot of variations to this, but it just kind of giving you a general landscape of that. Then the next thing would be to having at least 2 days of long form cardiovascular and something like running, jogging, even walking for some people, and cycling, Stairmaster, whatever it might be. The goal in this is to get really that zone 2 cardiovascular conditioning. And that's your long form. So we kind of say the best way to analyze this is if you're doing this long form exercise, the intensity you want to be doing it at is a conversational level. Enough of a stress that, yeah, you're breathing hard, you're gasping, but you're having a conversation with your friend and able to do it at the same time without really, really stressing yourself. Yes, in these situations, you might be a little short of breath, and that's okay. And that's kind of the sweet spot is a little bit more than you're comfortable talking too much. You need to focus on your breathing a little bit more, but not so much that you can't talk at all. And also the idea of this is really to do this type of exercise for anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. And I understand this sounds like a long time, and it is. I'm not going to lie. And for some people, they can't tolerate that. You need to build yourself up to it. What I've been doing is I've been utilizing that time since I really enjoy football games. I really do a 30-minute to an hour walk on a treadmill at a little bit of incline at a decent speed while I'm watching a football game. It's a great way to kind of kill two birds with one stone. I also have my phone there, so if I have any phone calls I need to make or any text messages, it's whatever it might be, I can really get it all taken care of in that 30 minutes to an hour. It's very difficult in this time of year when it's wintertime, but an even better source of that is getting outside and walking. This should ideally be done in one stretch of 30 minutes to 2 hours. But if you can only do 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening, that's better than nothing. What's better than absolute nothing is even breaking this up into 10-minute walks, 10-minute cycles, whatever. Ideally, you want to do all combined, but anything you're doing is better than not doing anything at all. So that's something to keep in mind if you want to implement that. So this can be 2 to 3 times a week. And then ideally, once a week, you're doing VO2 max training. VO2 max is the maximum uptake that our bodies can take of our oxygen content. And to ourselves to utilize them. So this is the ones that kicks everyone's butt. This is the one that you should actually feel your heart pounding through your chest, you're gasping for air, etc., etc. Some of us have had that experience through sports. Others have never had that experience through training. But that's where you're kind of going at. Something like this looks like going as hard as you can, whether that be a sprint in a safe manner. We're not trying to pull a hamstring or rupture an Achilles tendon. But we'll say maybe a fast jog, maybe jumping rope, maybe getting on a trampoline, and kind of going as fast and as hard as your body can allow you to go for anywhere from 30 seconds to up to 4 minutes. Different protocols. There's still a little bit of debate about which is the best. And the idea is to maximize your ability to go that intensely for a long period of time. So the cream of the crop, the best of the best, they're going to do the 4 minutes intense as possible. Then you take an equal or potentially a little bit longer of a break in between. Something like this would look like that 4 minutes as hard as they go in those elite athletes or people for peak performance. They take 4 minutes as hard as they go. They take 4 minutes off. Your total working time, meaning the time that you're doing the strenuous activity, should be anywhere from 8 minutes to, we'll say, 25 minutes. And that's about it. You don't need to do more than that. That alone, you will feel like you've done everything. And this is where my 80% of the time you want to go 80%. So this is the one workout a week. Obviously, the math doesn't really work out to be exactly 80%, but it's a rough guess. It's a rough guideline. But that 80%, that's that one time a week, a few times a month, where you're going absolutely as hard as you can go for that short time. This is going to help increase your body's ability to utilize the oxygen that you're breathing in. It's going to teach you how to breathe differently. It's going to teach your heart how to pump blood differently. You're going to have all these physiological changes in your body with this kind of training method. And the idea is to do that once a week if you can. So really, if you really want to boil it down to what's the least effective dosage of training I can do to maintain health. Now, there's different guidelines from, we'll say, the American Academy of Sports Medicine and lifestyle medicine, and other like orthopedic surgeons. There's different guidelines out there. American Heart Association. I don't want to confuse and put people into too many ideas, but if you're just getting started and wow, all this sounds way too much, I can't do that. So this is what I would recommend. 1 day a week, you do, we'll say walking, 30 minutes to an hour in one long stretch once a week. You come back, take a day off for stretching and what have you. You come back a couple days later, and then you do your strength training. Something like this would look like doing dumbbell presses, doing back rows, doing dumbbell squats, or even body weight squats to start. And then body weight lunges, just starting your body in these 4 complex movements, doing 3 sets of 10 in each of these. Probably go 4 sets, especially if that's all you're doing. So 4 sets of 10, we'll say. That's a good full body workout, and you're going to feel different muscles moving, and make yourself feel a little bit more of getting that muscle mass. And the great thing about these movements is you're hitting multiple muscle groups at once. There's obviously going to be a prominent and primary muscle group, but you're getting a lot of secondary musculature as well. And then that last day of the week that's the day that you do your full intensity workout. The easiest way that we could make this, and probably one of the safest ways, given you don't have any other comorbidities or any issues that might limit you, doing jumping jacks as hard as you can go. And when I say hard, meaning as fast as your body will allow you to go, for 30 seconds. And then you take a minute off. Do you do 30 seconds and then take a minute off? Do that for a total of about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get that maximum range, and see how your body does. And then as you step up, adding in another day of, we'll say, cardio, that long form zone 2 cardio, and then maybe alternating that with a strength training. So working out 3 to 4 days a week just to get started. And you're really putting in only a few hours with minimal gym equipment. This is something great you could start even at home. And that brings me to my point of 2024, when in January, the gyms get really packed. And my colleague and I were saying, what are we going to do? I was discussing, and I'm putting my own saying to the test now. That saying being, the best exercise to do is the one that you're doing. The second best exercise to do is the one you're not doing. So I tend to ignore that zone 2 quite frequently throughout the year. I do, maybe, as I said, during football season, I can usually find time to do a walk, but it doesn't always work that way. So I'm going to increase that this year to doing that at least twice, maybe 3 times a week. I'm going to come back off my strength training regimen, allow my body to heal in those capacities, and tone those back from 4 days a week to, we'll say, 1 to 2 days a week. And then the other thing that I have difficulty with is my mobility. So doing more mobility-based workouts, where I'm stretching, doing yoga poses, even going to yoga class. I think that is beautiful for people that can tolerate it. And that's how I'm going to restructure mine. And now I don't necessarily need to go to the gym as much. So I can do a lot of these things in the comfort of my own home, or I can do them outside when the weather's a little bit more decent, and going to yoga studios where you have to sign up online, so you know it's not going to be overly crowded. So I'm just putting myself in situations that I'm not going to be so discouraged to go to a fully packed gym. After about 6 weeks, those gyms start to not fizzle out, but a lot of people that started their journeys, they start getting busy with life again, and that's fine. But, hopefully using some of the tips I've discussed here in today's episode will allow us and allow our colleagues and allow our friends and allow ourselves to stay in some sort of consistent pattern and really working on staying as fit as possible. And doing this for 2-3 months is great. Spending the whole quarter working my body in different ways is not only going to help allow my, we'll say, neuroplasticity, even though the debates are still out there about that, but it is laying down neural pathways that I wasn't once connected with. So it's going to be beneficial in that sense. That final note, some other things that I'll be working on too is, as I discussed, yoga can be a great concept. And everyone says, oh, I have back pain or I have shoulder pain, and I should do more yoga. That's not necessarily the truth for every single person. In fact, yoga can be very detrimental to the individuals that are a little bit more flexible, on the flexible side of things. And those that have a little bit of instability in joints and instability in the spine, or instability in the SI joint. Because when you're stretching those tissue, you're also stretching the ligaments. And if we're doing that too much over time, then those ligaments and muscles don't have time to re-tighten to allow the structural integrity that some individuals need. That's why you'll hear some people, yoga didn't work or might have made them worse. Really, this is where the individualized medicine really comes to play in the long run. If that's an issue for you, there's different types of stretches out there. There's a different type of isometric strengthening that can help utilize, and that might be a better option for you. Other individuals going to as hard as they can every single time they go to the gym and really activating their sympathetic nervous system, the one that kind of fight and flight and keeps us motivated to keep going. But we don't activate our parasympathetic nervous system as much. Myself is guilty as one of these culprits. Sometimes I do go to the gym and do overdo it to an extent. Again, still keep within that 80%, but going maybe too many times during the week without paying too much respect to my parasympathetic nervous system, the rest relaxation one, part of our nervous system. So in those cases, working on things like yoga can help, again, for those right individuals. Working on things, if that's not a good option for you, using Qi as a movement meditation that kind of helps allow the bodies to understand where they are in space. And it can also help with chronic pain and joint injuries. It's actually a great practice, something that I'm going to be looking more into, specifically the Tai Chi version. And I could be discussing this a little bit incorrectly because I've read different sources on how the lineages of these martial arts, because technically they are martial arts, have developed. So Tai Chi is the one that has the most evidence for these things. I'm going to start doing some more Tai Chi because I want to experience what that's like. In fact, there's a class I'm going to go to and kind of test my own theories and understand where these papers were coming from. Understanding breathing patterns and doing breath work has been a phenomenal parasympathetic nervous system stimulator. It can also be sympathetic nervous system stimulator. So that's another option for people looking into changing up their workout and health routines without changing too much in their day-to-day lives. In doing these things for relatively cheap, if not for free, and from the comfort of your own home, utilizing YouTube or other online resources. So, recapping all that, if you're listening to all the rambling and some explanations and such, I appreciate it. But if you just want the fine points and what you want to do, and what you want to have at the end of the year or the beginning of the year and the rest of the year is getting a workout plan. So we'll say, getting a workout plan, number one. Number two, doing at least 1 up to 3 strength training workouts a week. Of course, people are adaptable. You can increase that and decrease that to not only to your liking, but also to your strengths and weaknesses as an individual. At least 2, if not 3 sessions of the long form zone 2 cardio. Even 1 a week is going to put you a long way in front of others. So I think even starting at 1 a week should be a decently fine plan. And then doing that high intensity, short burst exercise that leaves you breathless at least once a week. I probably wouldn't even go more than once a week for that. That's the one that's going to give people the most hiccup at the end of the day. And admittedly myself, I have a hard time dedicating that willpower to do it because nobody wants to feel like that. But I promise you, this is where the best evidence and research is coming out to. If you're an athlete, this is going to be shifted differently for you. And especially the athletes that are kind of going year round, really focusing on some of these parasympathetic nervous system modulators might be able to help you perform better in athletics. So With all that being said, I appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope you found it useful. Again, this is my goal of 2024, to put out more information for patients, giving more systems for patients and individuals, and just really helping people, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, is me understanding and analyzing the information and being able to reproduce it for individuals out there that want to have a healthier, better 2024 and a healthier life. Thank you for thank you for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a comment. Please give me a follow both on YouTube and LinkedIn, and please follow my office account, Essential Sports and Spine Solutions. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.